Well, holy crap, it's a Monday. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an ultra awesome, very special Scoopin' the Podcast Universe edition of Painting with MenothJohn. Tonight we're calling it SR2014 with MenothJohn. Hell yes, take that Muse on Minis. We're bringing it to you first. Tonight we have a very special show. We're going to try and keep to the 90 minutes because we know the brushheads aren't like most of the geeks out there. We have lives, and we're going to want to get on with them. But I have two very, very special people with me tonight. As usual, in the second seat, we have the co-host with the host, Mr. John Spencer. How you doing tonight, John?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, I'm living the dream. This is awesome. This tonight's show also marks the first time that we have successfully pulled together a multicast. And on the third chair tonight, we have, you know him as Edafoe. He is the legendary brushhead himself, Mr. Eric Defoe. Say hello to the crew, Eric.
Hello, crew.
Oh, that's great. How y'all doing out there? I see that we have many legendaries. We have 4 people in the chat room right now. But it is a Monday episode, so that's why things are a little bit whacktastic. But we couldn't wait to bring you the unveiling of, wait for it, yes, Steamroller. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have Steamroller 2014. Little Bill put it out on the internets today, and now we're going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put that monkey glass out there with the Kraken, and we are going to give a hearty Ron to Steamroller 2014. Hey, Ron!
Ron!
So, our format here tonight is that the 3 of us are going to tell you everything you need to know about Steamroller 2014, and if there are a few things that we don't know, we will make them up, and you can confirm nor deny those things as they come along. So, hopefully, does everybody have a case of the Mondays? No, you're not going to have the case of the Mondays after this episode of Painting with MenothJohn. So, without further ado, guys, I think we probably ought to just jump right into this.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Agreed.
Eric, you are going to be our master of change. You know, change is a scary thing. Change is something you can either embrace or you can run from. And we're going to run to you tonight to help bring us the highlights on what has changed in Steamroller 2014 from 2013. And may I say, go to hell 2013. I'm glad to see you go. I can't wait to start playing the new version of 3 Flags and all that kind of good stuff. So, John, you're going to be, as usual, our key to the chat room, our link to the brushheads, making sure that if there's any questions that come in, make sure you type them right on there in the chat room, and Mr. John Spencer will break in if he can get me to stop talking for more than 2 seconds at a time.
I will do.
All right. As you can tell, I'm pretty psyched up about tonight's show. And I guess, guys, what do you think? Should we just kind of... Eric, is there anything in the initial parts of the packet that has significantly changed, and where would we find that? What page would we find that on the change in rulings?
So, first thing they did is on page 2.
Okay,
they
page 2.
actually made promotional miniatures into being able to be used on the table.
That is correct. Oh, page 2. Wait a second. I printed this out so that it saved paper. We're all about saving the trees here at Painting with MenothJohn. There we go. There's page 2. And here's the exact section that Eric is talking about. So, yes, we've got the Druid Gone Wilder. is the same thing as the Druid Wilder. The Bombardier Bombshell is the same thing as the Khador Man of War Bombardier Trooper model. We have the Steel Soul Keg Protector is the same thing as the Cirrus Steel Soul Protector Solo, and the Gorman de Seawolf is also Gorman de Wolf. That was a Press Gang exclusive model.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty cool.
I have not seen it, but I dare to say that it is not as cool as the Gorman de Wolf I did for Chris Holhaven.
Probably not quite as cool.
All right, cool. What's next on the parade of changes?
On the parade of changes, we actually have to go quite a ways now.
Okay.
So we're going to hit Commander's Crucible, which is on page 8.
Page 8. So we're flipping ahead here to page 8. You can see all the stuff you already knew is right there on the internet for you. Okay, so page 8 is right here, and we have Commander's Crucible. Tell us a little bit about, let's talk a little bit about what Commander's Crucible is. I'm going to zoom it in here on the camera. I apologize for shaky cam. If any of that gets to you, I apologize right off the get-go. But we're going to do our very level best to bring you a high-quality broadcast here today. There we go. Now I'm sharpening it up. The focus was a little bit dull. So, Commander's Crucible. It's an event that consists of X rounds. The reason I'm going to go through this probably in a little bit more detail is that I'm signed up for this for TempleCon, and I should probably know what the hell I'm getting myself into. Let's see. The players select a faction or pact, contract, or construct a number of battle group lists, each consisting of one Warcaster, the Warjacks and Warbeasts, and any models attached to his or her Warcaster and Warlock. The number of battle group lists required is equal to the number of rounds in the event minus 1. Oh boy. So let me get that straight. What we've got going on here is, so let's say it's Commander's Crucible 3. You'll have 3 completely separate battle groups that then you will plug into the rest of your list.
You'd have 2 in that case.
Okay. Yep, that's right. But I'm reading that correct, right?
Yeah, other than that, yeah, you just, the main list is the same, and then you just change the battle group, which if you look at the chart below is pretty sizable amount of points in this battle group.
I'm bringing that down right now so people can see that. So for an event of 50 points, it would be, the battle group list is 25 to 50 points. So that allows you to go to a full-blown mangled battle. Is that correct?
If you want to, yeah, it looks that way.
And then, of course, you'd have a corresponding support list. By the way, guys, for those of you watching along at home, this is the FluCast episode because all 3 of us are sick. So we're probably going to be coughing into the microphone, so get used to it. I apologize, but I'm going to be doing it. So how do you handle the fact that that different Warcasters have different jack points? Does that just get figured into the battle group list points?
Oh, yeah, it seems that way, because you would just make a list that was a total of points after your battle group, and then, figure yourself out.
Is that how you read it also, Eric?
Yeah, that's exactly how I read it. I think it's definitely gonna work out, be an interesting format.
Wow. Okay, so I'll have to take a look at what TempleCon's the event is as far as Commander Crucible, whatever X is, and take a look at it. But that's going to be really, really neat. I'm looking forward to that. And for some factions, I think that's going to hit harder than others. I think that you look at some different factions, they have a lot of very I'm thinking, Protectorate should be able to come with very similar support staffs than what they usually do, and then just kind of plug and play with the different Warcasters and war groups, and battle groups.
Yeah, Hordes and any of the Jack-friendly factions are going to love it. Khador and Crix are not going to love it so much.
Big crying shame for the Crix.
Yeah, they can suck it.
They can suck it. All right, well, that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. So, any other thoughts that we want to talk about Commander's Crucible?
Not just I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think this may be one variation that we're going to see a lot of play during the year from even, the local scene.
We're going to try one out pretty soon locally.
Yep. Did either of you guys even see any flank scenarios or specialist tournaments, other than maybe in the first month after 2013 dropped?
We did flanks all the way through the year.
Really? That's interesting.
And then at Feast of Blades, we actually did a Flanks for the Memories tournament.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, I saw them a lot.
I forgot that the Feast of Blades is in your backyard.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, so I think we've killed this, we've flogged this horse sufficiently awesomely. What's next?
Well, there's one thing we missed.
Okay.
Danny pointed out that on page 6, under the flags or objectives, you can measure 4 inches from them at any time during your own turn.
Oh, that is important.
It becomes more important when we get to the scenarios.
Okay, so let's see here. Flags. Flag. Where does it say that?
Let's see here.
I'm looking for it here. Okay, here it is. It's in the contest.
Contest, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so I'm bringing up the verbiage as we speak here on the camera. So there it is. A player can measure 4 inches from a flag or objective at any time during his own turn. That's some pretty good stuff. That's going to give you a lot of information that you did not already have.
It'll help you know if someone's actually contesting and if you need to shoot them or not.
Exactly, and if you have an effect that might matter as far as its distance from things, if you're measuring out, that you can use that to gain a little bit of knowledge the way we currently use control zones for your caster and stuff like that. Nice. Shenanigans.
Indeed.
Outstanding. So thank you for that one, Danny. I appreciate that. And here's to you, Ron. Hey!
Ron.
Gonna be a lot of cracking getting drunk tonight. Okay. So that was on page 6. And we just covered page 8. What's our next stop, Eric?
Page 9, Gaming Time Variance.
Gaming time variance. So let's talk about that. What's the difference?
They adjusted the death clock numbers.
Interesting. So here's the death clock. So the playcock, that's convergence of Cirrus play. Can tell where my mind is anyway. So the player clock is, what are the big differences? Because we have a play clock of 60 at 50 points, and I thought that's what it was.
So what they did is at 15 and 25,
okay.
15 went up in time.
Okay.
25 went down.
Okay.
35 and 50 stayed the same.
Okay.
75 went down.
That's good.
And so did 100, and then everything else stayed the same.
That's really good.
And the reinforcements column adjusted the same as the player clock adjusted.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So basically, when you're playing smaller games, they felt those games were either too long or too short those times, and adjusted accordingly.
You know, I think that if you look at 75 points with a 70-minute play clock, I think you could start seeing some realistic opportunities to play 75-point games at a tournament level locally then.
I think that's exactly what they were doing.
Yep. That's an interesting development. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Sweet. Any thoughts on that, John?
Seems cool. I mean, making it easier to play those different points values is cool. It's hard enough to get in play. Making it easier even on a convention level is a really good idea.
Yeah, I agree. You know, if you take the death clock for 75 points and then maybe, force it down to the 60, that would be an interesting format. That's not true hardcore. Hardcore is 2 levels, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that would be interesting to see accelerated time limits on the new 70-minute play clock at 75. I would encourage our local press ganger Danny or Travis to run one of those events. Just dropping that out there. Not that I don't think they even listen to the show, but what the hell. So cool. What else we got next? Agent of Change.
Agent of Changes. We are going.
Anything coming in on the chat room on that one, John?
Nothing really since Danny chimed in with his helpful bit.
Excellent. We have 15 people watching. I think that's pretty good for a non-standard night.
Yeah,
Eric, are you with us? Calling Agent of Change Eric. Are you with us?
It looks like we may have lost him.
Rats. Huh. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop him off, and then I'm going to... There's that silly problem with technology that you wanted me to address. Okay, so unpinned him. So I'm going to I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to drop him off, and then I'm going to re-add him, I think. Cancel. I don't know how to do that. Oh, he left the call. Okay, so I'm going to add him back. And we're going to bring in Eric. This is the good stuff right here.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no problem. You're back. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we're on destruction, right?
Well, are there any more changes in the main section?
Not that I saw, but maybe the Brushheads found something that I missed.
All right, so Brushheads, if you've seen anything beyond page 9, please make a note of it in the chat room, and John will take a look at it and will bring it up to us. Otherwise, we are going to move on to the actual scenarios. So how many total scenarios do we have this year, folks?
12.
12 scenarios.
Yeah, they kept it the same.
And there's no major change as far as nothing funky like radials or anything like that, right?
No, they actually standardized it more.
God bless Hacksaw.
All the objectives are now Defense 5, Armor 18 across the board.
I think that's a good change because the 15s were far too easy to blow up, and the 20s were kind of, you didn't stand much of a chance.
Yeah, it was absolutely, you just went right down the middle, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It is a good thing. So let's talk about destruction. So I'm going to bring the focus in on the actual card for what the objectives are in this one. This is known as a critical asset. Not a critical asshat. That would be somebody that puts up a bad comment on this YouTube video. So this is a defense, as Eric just stated, this is a Defense 5 Armor 18. I believe they also standardized to 15 damage boxes on each of the objectives. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
That's fantastic. This one, I'm sorry, John. Go ahead, John.
I think they're all Armor 18 now, too.
Yes. So this one has the rules asshat protection. No, I'm sorry, that's asset protection. And what that means is that if this model is disabled, you can choose a non-disabled friendly model that you own within 4 inches to be destroyed. If another model is destroyed as a result of asshat protection, remove 1 damage from this model. So I've actually played the 2014 version of this in a beta test. So what that means is if you put a bunch of low model sort of like, I don't know, Zealots or TFG or something cheap around it, essentially you just pop one of those for every time you would destroy that model. So it helps provide a little bit of protection for that objective.
The thought that crossed my head was putting a tough model right there.
Now, that's a good question, Eric. What is the timing on destroyed? Because it destroys the model. Does destroy happen before the tough? If it goes right to destroyed, I believe that it bypasses tough.
I believe you're right, correct on that.
So, and I'm pretty sure that they were pretty purposeful on that.
Well, but I'm still glad we brought it up, because I'm sure it went through a lot of people's heads.
Oh, that's a great point. And we absolutely pride ourselves on accuracy and the importance of our information here on Painting with MenothJohn. It has immobile, which means you cannot move it, of course. Has no and cannot be knocked down or moved. That does not mean, however, that it cannot be placed. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you can TK this thing.
Well, next rule.
Whoops, inexorable. Model cannot be placed. Well, there you go.
And cannot be prey.
What a segue master you are, John Spencer. Yeah, cannot be prey. I think that's interesting. So you're not going to roll up on this thing with a totem hunter and whack it.
It's weird that some can't be and some can be.
Yeah, so it's this is going to be one of those things this year you're going to have to read the special rules on each of the objectives, I think, pretty closely.
They did fix objectives so that they can't be engaged or engage. So you can't roll up with your reach got model with a gun and suddenly not be able to fire.
Gotcha. And once again, this is an objective, and just like last year, the cannot be damaged until the second player's second turn. So let's take a little look at the map, because this is a big change for what used to be 4 objectives around a rectangle. They have now made it a whole lot more colossal happy by having it only be 2 objectives.
And more importantly, they made it a little easier to actually score the zone and win on scenario.
Indeed. This is one where if you destroy the enemy objective or remove it from play, you get 1 control point. If you control the zone, you get a control point. If you dominate for 2. So any thoughts on this one? You know, it's pretty much the same old, but this time now we've only got the two objectives, and I'm pretty sure that it's just the two objectives, right? It doesn't, like, a second one doesn't pop in on the other side when you destroy the one, does it?
No.
Okay.
I like it. It looks like it's much easier to score and win on scenario rather than just being I'll just kill stuff because my opponent's not going to score.
Yep. Cool. Anything on that one, Eric, you want to touch on?
No, just the change like you already hit on the only 2 objectives instead of 4.
Yep. So hopefully everybody out there we getting any comments on this one in the chat room?
On this one itself, no. We're getting some notes in general, though.
Okay. So that's destruction. And I guess without further ado, this is also a kill box scenario. We will highlight that. They now have on each of the different scenarios, they list kill box yes or kill box no. Before you kind of look and see, does it have the word kill box somewhere up there? Now at least it has a standardized bit of text that you'll know to look at in that corner, and it'll say yes or no against it.
Yep.
I call that a good thing. Okay, so that is that page. Okay, so second one is supply and demand. And if I remember right, supply and demand in 2013 was a confusing deal, and it was not necessarily a very popular scenario.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it.
Let's see.
Locally, we like 25, and it's like our first scenario in our Journeyman League. It's the first one you play.
That's cool. It wasn't the one where you couldn't have the one objective in your control area or anything like that, right?
That's the one.
Okay, that's the one. Well, at least it teaches you a whole lot about measuring your control area and stuff like that.
Yep, and it's still that it's just listed on the supply cache objective instead of in the scenario, I think.
Yep. Well, once again,
priority.
Yep. So once again, we have this is a supply cache. Things have changed this year. It's once again the 5/18 with the 15 damage, just like all the other objectives. This rule here is fuel. And what's interesting about this is while the objective is not contested by an enemy model, friendly models beginning their activation within 4 inches of this model can run or charge without being forced or spending focus. It used to be you had to dominate that thing, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
And it used to be a 2-inch effect. They increased it to 4.
You're going to get stuff around that dang thing, and it's just going to come flying across the table at you. It's going to be interesting to set up alpha strikes.
Useful.
Yeah, it sure does make it useful.
And this one actually does not have the inevitable, so this one can be prey and actually can be placed.
You're right. It absolutely can be. That's pretty cool, too. It is immobile, which just means that it can't be knocked down or moved. It's an objective. We already talked about that. And then priority. Enemy Warcaster Warlocks cannot dominate this while this objective is within their control. Wait a second. Enemy Warcasters Warlocks cannot dominate while this objective is within their control area. What the hell does that even mean?
It means you can't dominate anything while it's in your control area.
I'm confused.
So you can't dominate the zone if it's in your control area.
Okay, so you can't dominate. Make this. I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. It must be either a combination of the Kraken or me being sick. But so if I want to dominate the zone, I'm going to
The
come
enemy
back.
objective can't be in your control area.
Oh, okay. So you have to, in order to dominate the zone, you essentially have to kill the enemy objective.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right, that's not. Thanks. I'm a little slow, guys. I make coffee for a living, but I haven't made any coffee in a long time today. So, talking slowly with MenothJohn. Okay, so once again we have our normal 12-inch circle. We have the objectives here at 18 up, 18 over. Really simple setup. I think this is going to be a popular one actually to play because the objectives are so useful. It's a very simple setup, and it only requires a couple of objectives in just that one big 12-inch circle. I think it's going to see a lot of play.
The only other change they made is they removed the dominate from the enemy objective in the scoring.
Oh, that's interesting.
So in the old scenario, in the 2013, there was a dominate on the enemy objective option.
Yeah, I bet you I never saw that happen.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did.
Yeah. So it looks like they went for
dozens of times and never knew it.
Yeah, and I think that they really went for making things more. If you're going to have them in the game, make them useful in play. So that's cool. All right. Any other comments or questions on the on scenario 2, the supply and demand?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we're a half hour into the show here, folks, and that means that it's time to release the Kraken. So here at the end of scenario 2, supply and demand, I'm going to demand that you supply your glass with something and have a hearty Ron on me. Hey, Ron!
Ron.
God bless the Kraken. God bless the Kraken and the children. All right, so this is also, by the way, this is a kill box scenario. So both scenario 1, the destruction, and scenario 2, the supply and demand, are the kill box scenarios. All right, here comes scenario 3, balance of power. And this one hurt my brain a little. And so we're going to go up here to the rules section, and I'm going to highlight in on the camera with those. And John, why don't you walk us through, if you can, because it broke my mind a little bit when I was reading this. How is this scoring going to take place?
Well, if you control the zone, you get 1 control point. If you dominate it, you get 2. Same with the enemy flag, 1 for control and 2 for dominate. Which seems to be general through everything. Danny said that everything is 1 for control and 2 for dominate. But then if you dominate your friendly flag, your opponent loses 1 control point before he scores his control points this turn. Not a minimum of 0.
So does that mean that? I'm going to come back over here to the map, so we can kind of map this out. So here we have the zone here. And if I were playing, I would dominate this particular friendly flag here, if I had that dominating. And then he came in and he scored this zone for 1 point. If I'm dominating this flag and he controls, he gets 0 control points for that.
Not quite. It's actually, he loses a point and then he scores. So if he scored 1 earlier, you make him lose that 1. But you can't stop him from scoring his point that turn. Understand?
Nope.
It's kind of confusing.
Nope. So
basically,
go ahead.
He loses the control point first. That's taken care of. Then you score for the turn.
Okay. So let's say he came into. Player 2 here is playing his turn. He started the turn with 2 control points. He then comes up and scores this, controls this zone. So he would go from 2 control points to 3. First, he would go from 2 control points to 1 control point, and then he would come up to 2 control points again.
Correct.
Okay, that keeps. Oh, I see why they did it that way. That keeps you from ending the game at 5 control points if you scored first and then took it away.
It also keeps it easier. Honestly, it's a gimmick. I'm not a big fan of it. It's one more thing, and probably just try that and see how it's received. But it's gimmicky. I'm not. It was in the beta. We played one tournament with the beta. It was in there, and I just thought it was a gimmick.
Okay, so and if he came in and dominated this, then he would lose 1, but he would gain 2 back. So it would be a net +1.
Yes.
All right. So basically, what they're trying to do is force us to make dominating a friendly flag a dangerous thing.
Or at least make you contest the opponent's flag when you're scoring, as well as controlling your own zone.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Eric, is that making sense for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I agree. It is very, very gimmicky. I initially thought it was the other way, so I'm glad we went over it.
I'm a little bit surprised, given how they've streamlined so many different things in this packet, that they decided to go with something this gimmicky.
It's probably more of a year-long live play test. See what people say about it.
Awesome! Nobody loves playing in year-long beta tests more than me. All right, cool. So I'm not sure how the brushheads are doing there.
Good.
It seems like everybody's kind of understanding what we're doing here. I think we're doing the community a service here, to be honest with you. I really think that we're bringing a service to the people. So, Eric, are you still with us? We may have temporarily lost Eric again, but that's okay. We're going to keep on forging forward because that's what we do here on Painting with MenothJohn. Okay, so that was scenario 3. Now we're on to scenario 4, which is process of elimination. Yes, process of elimination. And I'm going to come up here and focus in on the scorecard here again, John. Why don't you walk us through what this objective is all about?
Well, it's a monolith, which is one of the standardized types of objectives.
Yep.
It's a standard Def 5, 18 armor, 15 boxes.
Yep.
It's a mobile. It's inexorable, so it can't be placed in no prey and no continuous effects.
Yep.
And it is, of course, an objective.
Yep.
And then it has an ability called Linked. So if you damage this particular objective, another monolith cannot be damaged this turn.
I understand. So in other words, that keeps you. That's the rule that's going to prevent you from blowing up both objectives on a single turn.
Correct.
Gotcha. And then, of course, there's an objective, which just says, hey, there you go. So this
and Danny points out this is one of the only 2 that is actually inexorable in the entire packet. So there's only 2 scenarios where it can't be placed and can't be prayed.
That's interesting. Hey, thanks for. I really super appreciate that, Danny. This is some great input you're giving here, and for that we will grant you Legendary Brushhead status. So here we have the map. It's our old friend, the 2 rectangles again. Objectives are placed in the middle. 1 control. Let's go over the scoring on this one. I'm going to bring that up into the camera here, and we have the 1 control point for destroying or removing from play an objective, and then for the zone.
I think it's new. I think the remove from play part's new.
I think it is too. I don't remember reading the remove from play part. It looks like Eric has actually left the hangout here, and I'm sure he'll be back very soon. I'm going to try and add him back here since we're talking. Go ahead on and talk a little bit more about these scoring conditions.
Okay, well, you get 1 point for destroying an objective, once each, and then you can get 1 point for controlling a zone and 2 points for dominating. Now, even though Danny said you can't score 4 points in a turn, technically could, but at that point you would have already won the game because you would have destroyed an objective turn before, destroyed an objective, then control a zone and dominate the other zone. But at that point and so far into the game, you probably won it already.
Oh God, yeah, technically you can do it. Practically wise, not really so much.
Yeah, not so much. You at that point you pretty much won the game, and it's just I'm getting ended it now.
Absolutely.
Let's go have some lunch.
So here we have the map again. This is our old friend. We just talked about it a little bit before. 14 inches on either side. This is a kill box. Scenario 3 that we just went over, the balance of power, was not kill box. This is another kill box, and there you have it. The other thing we should note is that 710 continued for deployments in this year's Steamroller as well. I think that's probably the starting distances we'll have for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I think so. It seems to work pretty well.
Yep. I'm saddened by the loss of Eric. I wish he was still here. He was bringing a lot to the show. But
I hope he's not having any computer problems or anything.
I hope not too. So we're going to pray. I want everybody in the chat room to say a silent prayer for Eric right now. We really don't know what happened. He's in Colorado. Anything could have happened. He could have been buried in an avalanche. Aliens could have abducted him, or he could have just gotten and turned off his computer. Who knows? So
yeah, he's not in the chat room anymore either.
No, my gut tells me that we're having a Control-Alt-Delete moment here with Edafoe. So we've got anything else on process of elimination? Pretty straightforward.
No, like I said, it seems pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Cool.
Very similar to last year's.
Yep. So let's move on to scenario 5, the closest of close quarters. Kind of hate these ones that don't have cards on it because the maps are ginormous, and it's not. I don't want to play fiddly foo with my camera settings all day. So let's go over, and this is 2 flags, and these are the scoring criteria right here. We have John. You want to walk us through those?
Sure. Well, first off, it is a kill box scenario.
Yep. You'll see right up here it says that.
Yep. And if you dominate your friendly flag, you get a control point. If you control the enemy flag, you get a control point. If you dominate the enemy flag, you get 2 control points.
Now, let's take a good hard look at how far these flags are from each other. So, if a board is 48 inches across, and we're at 18 in on one and 18 in on the other, that means that that's 36 inches. That means we're at 12 inches apart on these 2. Now, given the fact it's a triangle here, it's a little bit longer than. It's probably like 14 inches across between these 2 points. Man, if you're dominating your flag, your friendly flag, you're in the danger zone.
Yes, you are.
This to me smells like a kill the caster scenario. What does it sound like to you?
Definitely a high chance of that, unless you can do the old jam pass and take their flag.
And then and then you could dominate on yours and jam past and control over here. This, I think, is a scenario that Crix players are going to like a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get their Satixis Raiders all up in your business, right up in here.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Pen blades, anything super fast. Halberdiers now with the red will be super fast.
Holy hell. Boy, they just got fast. Because what they needed was Crusader's Call on top of Desperate Pace. You saw that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Danny Goodner, for giving us a lesson on the Pythagorean theorem. Appreciate that. I'm not going to do the math, though, right now. So, anyway, I don't know that this one's changed a whole lot from last year. Any thoughts on that, John?
No, it doesn't seem like it's changed that much.
Okay. Has Edafoe returned to the chat room?
I have not seen it.
Okay. All right. So, given that, let's. I don't really have a whole lot more to say on this one. So, why don't we move on to scenario 6?
All right, scenario 6.
I'm gonna take a little.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, you're back. That's super awesome.
Sorry, guys. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Dude, it is welcome to the Painting with MenothJohn show, where technical difficulties are our hallmark. So we have we've talked about close quarters. If you're going to have technical difficulties, you pick the right scenarios to have technical difficulties with, because they're the most boring ass ones we could have talked about. So, but now we're on to a new one. I'm kind of excited about it. It's called Two Fronts, and I'm excited about it because it's a new name. So, Eric, now that you're back, would you like to walk the crew through the card here for the objective?
Absolutely. Again, you're looking at a supply cache, which is going to be on a large base, defense 5, armor 18, 15 damage boxes.
Same old, same old.
Again, we get the fuel rule.
Yep.
While this objective is not contested by an enemy model, friendly models begin their activations within 4 inches of this model can run or charge without being forced or spending focus.
There's going to be some janky shit going on in this one.
I think Menoth's going to love it.
I kind of wet 'ems when I saw the fuel roll. I have to be honest.
It is also a mobile.
Yep.
An objective.
Yep.
And it is again a priority.
That's interesting. So you will not be dominating this without killing the enemies, unless you're like the High Reclaimer.
It's awfully close. You are correct.
So 18 up, and this other one is 18 up. I'm going to come back down here to the map so people can see as I do my slow kid math here. So we're at 18, 18. That means that we're 36. That means we're 12. So basically, unless you have a Fury 5 or Focus 5 caster, forget about it. You're not going to be dominating this objective without killing that other one. So giddy up for the High Reclaimer and Madrax and Liliths and things like that.
It's actually a little bit easier than that. It's probably Focus 7 before it really starts to become a problem, because the edge of the zone is only 16 up. If you want to dominate your friendly zone, you could be in that far corner, and you're probably 14 inches away almost.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you got the geometry going on here, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh God, thank God you're on the podcast, John.
That's just quick math. No one quote me on that.
Oh, that's awesome. If you didn't already have legendary status because you're my co-host with the host, I tell you what, that would have gotten it for you. All right, so we've got our two rectangles. We've got the two objectives. This one looks fun. I have to admit, this one looks like it's going to be really neat.
Yeah, it's one of the ones I added to my journeyman. If I don't miss my guess here, to just for fun play, something interesting and new.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see it's going to be a lot of. It seems as though, and I'm going to finish a sentence here one of these days, that with the inclusion of these fuel cache, the supply caches, the way that they're written, once again they're doing more things to encourage the bringing of beasts and the bringing of jacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're going to be bananas awesome. And I can't wait to send Reckoners flying across the table and Avatar flying across the table and showing up with 4 focus. And oh, God, I'm just getting excited thinking about it. Anyway, so do you have any more thoughts on Two Fronts?
I like the scoring.
I do too.
I think it'll be good.
Cool.
It seems like they standardized the scoring too to be pretty similar in every scenario.
Yeah, they did. They altered it a little bit.
You know, when we get done looking at these, we should probably render some thoughts on what we think they were trying to accomplish with this year's Steamroller packet. What are they trying to change in the meta? Because if you remember, 12 was all about the gun line, and 12 brought back more of the attrition, grinded out balance between gunline and melee. This year, it almost feels like they're trying to emphasize more of the big models, more of the heavies, more of the colossals, by some of the different abilities that these different objectives and the different design of the scenarios are. So, but we'll do that in our wrap-up portion of tonight's show. And by that time, I'll have had at least a couple more shots of Kraken, and I'll be almost unintelligible in my rendering my opinions. Okay, so let's move on to Scenario 7. Incoming! So, Eric, if you'd be so kind, is to bring us and let us know all about what it is, this ammunition cache.
This ammunition cache is, again, Defense 5, Armor 18.
Oh, crap. They brought back this rule?
Yeah. They changed it.
Okay.
So, while the objective is not contested by an enemy model, the ranged weapons of friendly models with light artillery within 4 inches of this model gain boosted damage rolls.
Oh my god, it's so much better.
Well, yeah, it's because everyone plays with artillery.
Well, yeah, but now they will.
Hopefully, it'll spur it a little bit.
Specialists just got fun.
True. It is immobile, and it is an objective.
Cool. So pretty plain Jane, except for the fact that light artillery is loving it. So let me show you exactly where I'm going to park my 2 Sunburst Deliverer crews. They're going to be right here. And there is a scenario that, or excuse me, a theme force in Protectorate that allows me to AD those things. And that will be funny, because they're range 16. And they'll be all the way all up in your business over here, whoever you are. But anyway, so I get really excited for exactly one list.
They also, in this scenario, they also altered the enemy zone of control scoring.
Okay, let's go up here. Let's go up here to the scoring section then, and if our Master of Changes would tell us what he's catching there on that change.
So instead of 2 control points for enemy zone control, they changed it to 1.
Okay.
And they dropped dominate from 3 to 2.
Okay, so they're trying to keep it from being one of these scenarios where you can basically jam through feat with a hard control feat and win the game, as happened to me with, I believe, the old version of this scenario when I accidentally killboxed myself against Harbinger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a good change.
It's a halt to the Edeni, stall feat shenanigans.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Any thoughts on this one, John?
Well, Danny pointed out that Circle can do some shenanigans and teleport the objective with the stones first turn if they go second. They can do the old teleport the stone, then teleport the objective.
Oh, yeah, sure. You teleport the first set of stones around the objective and then teleport it.
I'm not sure, aside from making it really, really hard for them to get to it, it's not going to do much, because I like Circle has any light artillery to speak of.
Yeah. What would Circle light artillery look like? I see dogs flying through the air, like dogapults.
It's the Tharns with bows. That was it. That's what they got.
I think, or if it was a Tharn thing, then I could see it being like they throw hearts. They have like a big bucket of hearts, and they fling them. And they'll call it the Heart Stopper.
Heart Stopper, perfect.
I think they could make like a crazy wold thing that shot stuff.
Oh, that'd be sweet. The Rune Thrower.
There you go.
Something like that. Just a little wold. Make it not a war beast. Make it just make it some sort of wold thing that's not a war beast and has some sort of cool range attack.
Yeah, that makes maybe what it does is when it hits, it's an AOE that is like a magic attack, not a blast damage, but like a magic attack.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because it's like an exploding rune. Anyway, this has nothing to do with Steamroller.
Segue.
Yeah, coherency is not our big long suit on this show. We're at 14. We haven't driven off too many people yet. Okay, so here's the map for incoming. We have the 2 objectives. They're sitting 16 up, basically just there by the second player's advanced deployment. Not sure why they don't show the dotted line going through the objective, because if the objective is 16 inches up and you measure from the center of the objective, then wouldn't you be right through the middle of it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, you should be.
Anyhow, maybe they should errata that. Anyway, okay. Any other thoughts on incoming?
No, I think it's a solid change, pretty good one.
I agree. Okay, with a certain amount of dread, we now come to rally point.
You know, I like it.
Okay, well, you're the master of change, and help me, master of change, not to fear this change. And let's walk through the effigy card for this year.
Okay, so an effigy. I don't know. Have you guys gone over these yet? Have you get them at all?
Oh God, no! That would mean that I had done preparation for this show, and I'm not good with that.
Okay. So
I looked through it a little bit.
He's far more professional than I am.
The effigy is Defense 5, Arm 18, 15 boxes.
Yep.
Shock and awe. It is immobile. It is an objective. But what caught my eye was Valor.
Okay.
While this objective is not contested by an enemy model, friendly faction solos within 4 inches of this model gain inspiration. Faction. For 1 round, friendly faction model in this model's command range never flee and immediately rally.
So you park a solo there, and essentially it gives out inspiration?
Correct. Yep. So in Convergence, I can park one of my little Mook robots, and he gives me Fearless on all my living dudes.
Well, that's one interesting way to get rid of the problems with command checks, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, hang on for a second.
Free up your Gatorman Witch Doctor to not have to undead your darn blood trackers.
Yep.
You can park your Druid Wilder right there.
Could you park a rack behind it?
Actually, a Druid Wilder, I'm sorry, is an attachment. It's not solo.
Right. Could you park a rack behind it?
I think it would same situation.
A rack is a solo.
There you go.
It's a 3 model solo.
It was a Welder.
Yes.
Okay, so the Wilder works.
Wow. I mean, not like I don't have enough.
The Welder wouldn't be so good because of low command, so it wouldn't have a large range that it offers.
True.
Oh, is it command range?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, a rack, I don't even know if it has a command range. So.
No idea.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So, in order to get a big bubble, you've got to park something pretty high value because the only things that have high command ranges are generally things that are pretty high value. So it's a bit of a trade-off.
What about the Arcanist in red?
Probably 8 command at most. Not that good. You'd rather use a Dawn Guard Duster Thane.
Okay.
He's already a commander, but taking the roll out of it's pretty sweet.
And, in that case where you've got a large command range, I mean, and it's not, you have to be behind it. I mean, you can be 4 inches forward and then project that out in a bubble. So, seems good.
Yeah. And Danny points out that Whelps would have an inspiration with 1 inch range. Yeah!
Way to go, Privateer. You just broke trolls. Outstanding. So let's go over real quickly. Here's the map. 2 circles, 22 up, 14 in, 14 in. We've got these objectives that we just talked about, the effigies. They are immobile but not inexorable, so you'll be able to port them around. It doesn't look like they act as warcasters anymore for purposes of domination. Is that your read of it, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of a good thing. That was kind of janky anyway.
It was kind of weird. They just kept trying to make that old Guidon scenario work, and now they sort of they pushed it aside and said, like, we'll just make the scenario work rather than trying to make it like that Guidon scenario.
Yep, I agree with that read, John. We've got the friendly zone, you're dominating for 1, enemy zone control for 1, dominate for 2, and then you destroy or remove from play the enemy objective, 1 control point once per objective. Well, there's only one objective that's an enemy. So, anyhow.
And Danny points out that they can't be moved anymore, which sort of goes with them not counting as warlocks, warcasters for dominating.
Yeah, but you can still place them.
Sure.
But they don't have a mechanism outside of TK to move them anymore either.
Right.
Okay, cool. I like it. I think it's a nice change. It makes it a little bit more normal. I think the old rally point and guidance was just too weird.
It definitely confused newer players.
Okay. Here we are, guys.
Oldie but a goodie.
The old incursion. We're gonna try one more time to make this not suck. Otherwise known as the lazy man's scenario incursion. I have to say this is an infinitely better version of incursion. So I refuse to play 2013 incursion anymore because I'd gotten a taste of what 2014 incursion is all about. So, Master of Change, why don't you break loose for us what the big change is here for this year?
The center flag doesn't go away. Woo!
Woo! Hey, how about that? A little Ron. Woohoo! For the center flag not going away. Ron. God bless them. This is a no-kill box, by the way. John, why don't you walk us through the scoring?
Well, the center flag is kind of weird because it's only worth 1 regardless of whether you control or dominate it.
Yep.
But then the outer flag, whichever one's left, is worth the normal 1 control point for control, or 2 if you dominate it.
Yep. What do you think they were driving at for that?
I don't know, just trying to make you actually think about that scenario where it's going to go, make you move your caster. It used to be just, certain actions to jam past that first flag, bring their caster up there, and just dominate. Now, you actually have to put lip service to that other flag and not just leave it go.
Yep. I think you're right, John. I think it's going to more dramatically shift the front more than it does even today.
Yeah, Danny says that Bricks won't necessarily win by running at the center flag. They got to take a chance and see which flag goes away.
Yeah. This is remarkably coherent stuff we're getting out of Danny Goodner.
Yeah.
He's really stepping up to the plate. He's really stepping up to the plate and not just trolling us. He's giving good stuff. So thanks a lot, Danny. I appreciate you here today. So there's the map. We all know it. We all love it. 9 inches in on the side. I think that's a little bit of a change. Master of Change, is that a change in measurements?
Ooh, if it is, I missed it.
Okay.
And I don't have the old one.
It's a change not from the beta. It's a change from the old one. The old one used to be 12, 12, and 12.
That's right.
That's right.
So it is a little bit closer on there, and then a little bit wider in between. Is that an answer for huge bases, you think?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
No, I see on this.
And it's not horrible. It's not horrible for low focus or fury casters either. You just have to get between those 2 flags with your caster to control your battle group or what have you.
Yep. Forces you into this zone here, and then this zone over here, which is, until the video catches up on Twitch, won't make a lick of sense to either one of you. But I'm pointing to a crescent-shaped area midway in between the 2.
I think Bog Truck Ambusher stock is going to go up.
Yep, I'm gonna show here on the video. Danger zone over here on the side. Very nice.
My MkII list I'm kind of working on much more interesting. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'll bet you there's some part of what they went into here that was concerned about whatever happened to Lilith and MkII and PkII and some of those casters, because they just straight up left, and I was kind of okay with that. So
Okay with Lilith going away.
Oh, no shit. I'm sorry, that was used in a complete sentence. This is an explicit podcast, I guess. All right, so scenario 10, folks. We got 2 more to go through. We are at the 1 hour mark. So if you don't have anything to drink, get something to drink, because I'm going to outflank you by yelling, Ron! Hey, Ron!
Ron.
We're very contextual with our Rons tonight. Okay, so we got outflank. You can see it there on the camera. Now you can't. But this is one. John, why don't we go over real quickly? I'm going to bring the special rules section up. We have no kill box on this one.
Nope.
And what about
It's
scoring?
2 12-inch zones and very simple scoring of 1 for control and 2 for dominate, and we'll call that a scenario.
Kind of love it. Kind of love
Feels good.
scenarios like this.
Yeah, this is just a good, solid scenario.
There we go. The front leg of my tripod got a little slumpy. Sounds like a personal problem.
Wasn't going there.
So I re-extended it. I grabbed it firmly and pulled it forward, and now it's happy.
Let's just assume it's something horrible and continue on.
Okay, so here we go. We have 24 inches up. We've got 14 in on either side. 2 big old circles. It's cool. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty simple. I don't think it's changed much of it at all.
nope. Turns out a good scenario is a good scenario.
True.
All right, so that was number 10. That means it must be time for number 11. Into the breach. All
I
right.
got so sick of this prepping for IMC.
Did you go to the IMC?
I did.
I'm so sorry I wasn't there then.
Yeah, we got a whole Colorado crew that went.
Yay. Good old end zone game. No, they didn't do it at end zone. They did it at the one in downtown Ogden.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a shitty part of town.
It was interesting.
Yeah. Did you have any of the street tacos next door?
No, had pizza.
Oh, yeah, that's good. They brought in the pizza from the place. That's good. Anyway, okay, so back on topic. If the Master of Change would please take us through the effigy rules. We've seen this one before, but it never hurts to go through it again.
So again, we're looking at Def 5, Arm 18, 15 boxes.
Yep.
And a mobile objective, and we're back to that Valor rule. So the 4 inches and the model gains inspiration faction.
Very cool. Now let's look at the map real quick just to see how relevant that's going to be. So here's the map, and these are the objectives that we're going to be projecting that bubble around for Fearless. Could come in handy if you've got some units that start to attrit over here in the big zone, and you would otherwise end up failing a command check. That might be a good place to have that inspiration in place for.
I see a big scrum right in the middle, honestly. Like, there's going to be a point where nothing's running away.
Yeah. Yep. And then we have the flag over here that we're going to dominate. So we've got flags, we've got objectives, and we've got the 12-inch zone of death over here on the side.
Is this the first one? I'm pretty sure it is. It has everything on it.
I think you're right, Eric. Hey, John, have you noticed anything?
I think that's the only I've noticed with that too.
Okay. No kill box on this one. Let's zoom up here to the scoring section and just kind of review quickly the special rules. John, you want to walk us through these?
Sure, it's pretty the standard by now. Control for 1, dominate for 2 on the zone, dominate the flag for 1, and then 1 point for destroying the objective.
Pretty standard. But the geometry that's involved in this map is pretty complicated. I'm having a tough time kind of wrapping my head around what you would shoot for in this, because you've got clearly, if you want to try the push through, you've got your zone here, and then you would try to maybe sweep in this direction. Or with this flag here, perhaps you could start from this side. So it may offer more choices than what we've had in the past.
I think you're going to see large gargantuan colossals in this, honestly. Let's park them in the zone, defend the zone, and go for everything else.
That's right. You put your large base model in here, maybe park some repair elements in behind it, and then bring the rest of your army up to push through from the other side. What do you think about that, John?
I think that's right. I mean, to be honest, the old version of the scenario was not my favorite. It was always kind of weird. And I'm kind of interested to see how this plays out. It still seems weird, but I might have a little more play. A little more scoring opportunity, though. Because it used to be 2 points for control and 3 for dominate, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's the part that they streamlined throughout this whole document.
They've gotten rid of the 3 points for dominate completely, correct?
Correct. As far as I can tell, yes.
Okay, well, that's great. So there you have it, folks. I think this is going to be one of the more interesting ones that's not going to be annoying. You know, sometimes when they try to make something interesting, it becomes annoying at the same time. I don't think this is going to be annoying. I think this is going to be really a fun one to play. So I look forward to getting out to the local. I may put this one out on the table tomorrow at my local game store and see how it plays. And if that's the case, next Sunday when we have the normal Painting with MenothJohn show, I'll be doing a bat rep based on Into the Breach. So you heard it here first, folks. Tune in at 7 o'clock Central Time next week for some awesomeness related to the Into the Breach scenario. Anything else from you guys on this one?
Nope. No, I'm just curious to see how it plays.
Okay. John, are you getting anything from the chat room that you want to comment?
No, it's been pretty quiet.
Okay. Except for Danny, who's been offering all kinds of good stuff. We appreciate that, Danny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We
very much appreciate that. All right, guys. Scenario 12. We've been waiting for it. This is the last one. Fire support. So fire support is scenario 12. It is an ammunition cache. And why don't you walk us through this one again? This is not the first time we've seen an ammunition cache, but Eric, if you'd walk us through the objective rules on this one.
Okay, so you have Defense 5, Arm 15, or Arm 18, I'm sorry, excuse me. 15 boxes.
Yep.
Firepower. So again, we're looking for light artillery within 4 inches, gaining boosted damage rolls. It's a mobile and it is an objective.
Nice. So you have a 1 in 6 chance of hitting the jackpot by putting some light artillery in your list.
Actually, you're looking at 2 because there's actually 2 scenarios in there.
That's what I was saying. There are 12 scenarios, so it's a 1 in 6 chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Yeah. Yes.
So okay, so we got the firepower. We got immobile.
Mobile.
And
this model has no movement or action. Cannot be knocked down or moved. The front arc is 360. No melee range. Cannot engage, and is automatically hit by melee attacks.
There you go. And it's an objective, of course. Sweet.
Absolutely.
So here's the map. Let's take a quick look at the map. This is one of those funky ones that has flags and objectives. And the map itself reminds me a lot of what fire support used to be, too. I don't think it's greatly changed on the map.
I honestly, when I went through these, I didn't look at the maps very hard.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We don't really need that much analysis on this show. It's really not what we're about. So that's fine. Let's go over the special rules on this one, though. John, why don't you walk us through the special rules, starting off with our good friend Killbox.
Sure, yep, it is a kill box this time.
Yep.
And the flag has a standard 1 control point for controlling and 2 for dominating.
Yep.
And you, of course, as usual, get 1 control point for destroying an enemy objective.
Yep.
And it is good to note that it looks like those objectives are still close enough to those flags that they would contest.
So, okay, so since this is an enemy model, you won't be able to score the flag until you blow up the enemy objective.
Correct. The one on your right would be contested to start. You'd have to go for the one on your left.
That's right. Cool. Well, that'll definitely bring out some interesting gameplay in this area because you're going to be wanting to protect that model at the same time that you're trying to push through on the other side.
Yep.
Cool.
And that looks really similar to the old one, even.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yep. Well, that's great. So that's our 12 scenarios, folks. That is Steamroller 2014. And I think that they've done some really very impressive, very cool things with the packet this year. I'm just kind of letting everybody watch me flip pages here as I bring it back around to the as I put the packet together here because I'm going to bring it to the game store with me. But John, let's start with you. What do you think that they were really trying to accomplish here with Steamroller 2014?
Really, it just looks like the same as 2013. They just wanted to make the scenarios work better.
So yeah,
they got rid of my favorite, which was Ammunition Run, or the auto win for any shooting army in a Steamroller scenario with time turns. and it was those two. It was almost the 3 objectives diagonally across the board. And they're 15-15s. You can blow them up on accident. You just Well, 2. Look, I got 2 control points. If that's the zone, you get your 1. Oh, look, dice down. I won. Let's go have lunch. But yeah, it looks like they're really, really just trying to, the same as before, you know, make the gun lines not quite as bad, though it seems like they're a little better than they were, which is some of the minor changes.
Yep.
And just keep all the scenarios live.
Eric, what are your thoughts? What do you suppose they're trying to accomplish with 2014?
I think they're pushing artillery a little bit, as we mentioned before.
Got themselves a warehouse full of them light artilleries.
They must somewhere. And I think a lot of it, just like the standardizing and the streamlining again, coming to a point where when you introduce this to new players, it's not going to be so daunting as you see an objective and what is it this time or what is it that time. It's straight across the board. These are the stat lines when you see this kind of model and scenario.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, with I've got some scenario markers that I got from Advanced Deploy, and on those objectives they actually have circles that represent damage points, and I might just color them in down to the standard 8. Was it 18 now or 15? 15.
18.
15. Just color them down now, and then I can use just track it right there on the old objective.
Yeah. Actually, 15. I'm sorry. I told you wrong. 15.
15? Okay. No, that's cool. As for me, I think that you guys have touched on a lot of the major things. We talked about it briefly during the show. We talked about how it feels to me as if they're making some of the scenarios that were less than friendly for Colossals a little more Colossal friendly. I think that they're trying to integrate the huge bases as a strategic piece as well as a tactical piece. So you have whereas in 2013, the Colossal certainly could hold his own probably better than anything else in the game. It looks as though they've actually brought that in a little bit more. And I think that it's pretty obvious that when you have 2 of the scenarios having the light artillery rule, that they are trying to move a little bit of product. I don't think that there's anybody that can, but I don't know that it will necessarily work. I don't know that anybody's going to go out and drop 3 points each on a light artillery piece on a 1 in 6 chance that they're going to get lucky and it's going to show up and have the boosted shots.
Might see a couple of ones that you see anyways, or that are considered anyways, like the cheaper ones. Maybe the Brett heavy rifle team, maybe the Storm Tower.
Thumper Cruise maybe. Thumper Cruise maybe might seal a bit more. Because Thumper Crews are pretty cool as it stands, but then you get them the boosts, and they're even a little bit cooler.
Yes, indeed.
I've always been a big fan of the Sunburst Deliverer Cruise. Rule number 1 is a lot better in Mark II than it ever was in Mark I, and I think that we could possibly see some interesting things coming out of the light artillery crew.
Do you think it's going to increase specialists in tournaments?
I hope so.
With the specialist, if we see specialists a lot, do you think the artillery pieces will fall in those slots?
I think you could possibly see that. They're not character, which makes them attractive for specialist lists. The one thing that I know that was kicked around a little bit during, I don't know if it was even ever part of the beta or not, but a shared list of specialists between lists, I think like a common pool of specialists, could very well turn out to be an interesting concept, but it may be broken from the standpoint that character restrictions then become somewhat nebulous, because then you put let's say Tartarus in your specialists, and all of a sudden you can bounce between both lists. One thing I did see in the packet that we didn't mention was there is a call out for character not restricted as being a variant. I don't remember that being in the other packets. It might have been, but I think we may see the occasional character not restricted tournament in 2014.
I would be okay with that. As well, I also noticed that there was a toolbox all the time, but that was also in the previous as a variant.
Yep, and I never once saw that. I never saw that variation.
I didn't either, but That's kind of fair. I'm not a huge fan of that. Because if you know that's coming, you can definitely play your list for it.
Oh, sure.
Well, Eric, John, I don't know that I necessarily have a whole lot else to comment on the steamroller. I guess I'd like to just reach out to the podcasts and say, suck it. Because we beat you to the punch. We're the first to go live with it. And we hope that the rest of you don't do near as good a job as we do.
There it is.
Suck it! So,
and if anyone cares, I posted in the chat room, but Chain Attack put a picture of the actual page from the No Quarter with Gorshade 3 spoilers on their Facebook page.
okay, let's go ahead and read these off so that we can spoil that too first.
Sure.
Gorshade, I just brought it up on my screen. Oh my god, he's obnoxious. He's a 14-17, 7 focus with 17 damage. He has 5 jack points, and he's on a large base. That's a change.
Yep. And speed 8, because he's cavalry.
Yep, he is a cavalry one. He has Infernal Machine. He has something called Mockery of Life, which is return 1 damaged friendly faction undead grunt to play with 1 unmarked damage box. It must be placed in the model's control area in some information within 3 inches of another model in this unit. The grunt. So it's resurrect for. So essentially, it's resurrection for 2 focus.
Yeah, and then their action that turn.
Yeah, Banecap Boo is right.
Losing their action means you at least got a turn before they'll kill you with it.
Yeah, there is that. Well, okay, so that's the difference between it and what, Revive?
Yes, main difference.
Okay, so then he's got Occultation because Lord knows we need more stealth. By the way, the house guard thing says suck it. Scything Touch, which is amazing, and then Siphon Bolt, which is, I believe, where you pull the focus, right?
Yeah, if it hits a model with 1 or more focus fury points on it, that model loses 1 focus fury point, and Gorshade gains 1.
How very retribution of him.
Yes, and it's range 8 power 12, so it's an okay nuke.
And then his feat is Winter's Grasp. Center a 3-inch AoE on any number of friendly non-warcaster warrior models currently in Gorshade's control area. Enemy models without immunity cold within 1 or more AoEs become stationary for 1 round. Then the models in the AoE are centered on are destroyed. So he centers stuff on his own models, and then they make things stationary, and then they die. So
it seems like that was the fair way to make that. Every way had been spoiled had been either crappy or overpowered, and this seems pretty fair, actually.
And as it turns out, he is... so we got that going for him. So basically he brings Mechanothralls with to fuel that feat, and then they blow up, turn into corpse tokens, and he recycles them.
There you go.
Yeah, but as long as you're not going after your caster, it'd be kind of hard to get Mechanothralls through the line of their caster.
No, I don't doubt that, but I mean it's an interesting mechanic, and the fact that they put it on that they have Mechanothralls makes it a useful feat, and it also makes it not broken.
Yeah.
I mean, it's essentially you've got to bring something into. It's a lot like Sorsha's feat, except you have to use the recursion mechanic to get your stuff back. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I think it would have been cooler if it said like non-incorporeal or something. So you can't just run a incorporeal model through the entire lines, stand next to their caster, boom, you're stationary, and boom, you die.
Yeah, it's going to make machine wraiths a lot more popular. So you go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking that his recursion mechanic makes that playable as well, with him being a cavalry model. So you could place a model if it's in formation right next to your caster, drop its feet, your caster stationary, bring in Nightmare, Deathjack, X, whatever, and wreck base.
Oh, hey, how about this feat with some Soul Hunters?
There you go.
Soul Hunters with Derek Wraith, incorporeal, running through everything, and then there you get your stationary caster, and that's a very viable assassination run.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And it looks like he's got terror. He's obviously undead. He's ghostly all the time, which is kind of good.
Yep, he is ghostly.
And then the money is the spell vortex.
Spell vortex. If a living enemy model can cast a spell in this model's control area last turn, this model can cast one spell without spending focus during its activation this turn. Holy crap!
Boo.
So druids just turn him into a Scarlock. Like if
he gets one extra spell, which is pretty good.
That's real good. Oh my god, he's awesome.
Defense armor not being off the chain.
I'm totally getting this guy. I don't.
It looks like his weapon's pretty much the same.
His weapon gives him gives stationary.
Yep.
I don't see any elite cadre or anything funky like that. So he doesn't really do anything for the Bane Cav except bring him back, which is enough.
Yeah, not really.
Which is enough.
That is enough. I mean, it's pretty good.
Wow, that's really good. He's good. I don't know if he's broken off the hook, but he's pretty amazing.
I think he's better than his other two versions. I think you'll actually see this one on the table a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think.
And Danion, for your comment in the chat room about scrap thralls, stationary than boom, I think if you look carefully, they'll skip the step where they explode and go straight to no longer on the table.
Yeah, there's some timing issues there.
Silly PP making that work that way.
Yeah. Darn them actually play testing. So they didn't play test when the Ravagore happened, but then all of a sudden they started play testing again.
Sometimes things fall through the cracks. Come on.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's been about 90 minutes. You got anything else to say?
That was good, man. Thanks for having me.
That was a real coup, having the ability to be able to share that with the Brushheads. The breaking news on Goreshade.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Assyria.
Chain Attack put some spoilers out on her too. Did you see that?
What's that?
You saw the Chain Attack spoilers, didn't you?
I read some spoilers. I'm waiting for a picture. It's not official until I see a picture.
All right. Well, you are the show me kind of guy.
Well, I've heard too much stuff. It's been this and that. So me and my rep buddy are going to chat about this in a moment.
All right. Well, on behalf of Eric, thank you very much for being part of the show.
Thank you.
Love to have you back since we actually know how to connect with you.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And I thought it worked out pretty good having three people here in the driver's seat. So I want to thank all the Brushheads, all the legendary Brushheads, all the new to the show, everybody. Make sure that if you're enjoyed what happened here in the last 90 minutes, that you can stop in on a Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central, for the regular Painting with MenothJohn extravaganza. And be a part of the show. We do Flippity Bloop, we do media and movie reviews. And don't forget, Brushheads, that this week's Painting with MenothJohn movie club is Bulletproof Monk. Make sure you're watching that for this week, because we will have a lively discussion about Chow Yun-Fat and why he is super awesome. So, on behalf of John, the co-host with the host, I get stuck sometimes when I say that and I can't stop. And Edafoe, I want to thank you all, and we'll see you on Sunday, 7 p.m. on Twitch TV. Good night, everybody.